Hello, I am Dane. I am introducing to you the future of electronic technology, particularly railway systems. Back in 2012, Mitsubishi tested a rather new type of inverter for the Ginza train line in Japan. Instead of using conventional silicon, this inverter is made up of silicon carbide components. Electric trains function using electricity, so there is a need for power inverters. The rail or wire supplies direct current, but train needs high alternating current to function. Same goes for our household appliances. The inverter addresses this problem by converting the low direct current to high alternating current. Most trains work on 1500 volts. That is a lot of electricity and power consumption. To address this, trains keep a battery that charges with regenerative energy. The inside of inverters, or any power components, is made up of semiconductors such as silicon or silicon carbide. Semiconductors can act as both insulators and conductors under some conditions. It is perfect for the use of electronics. We can see the properties of wide bandgap semiconductors that make it desirable as power inverter components. I have mentioned two semiconductors. As you can see, silicon carbide fares way better than silicon in terms of efficiency. This is mainly due to the wide bandgap of silicon carbide. Semiconductors have three regions: the conduction band and the valence band. One side has holes and the other side is full of electrons that transfer to the other side when enough energy is applied. A band gap is the area in between the conduction and valence band, where there are no electrons, and where electrons cannot go through. A wider band gap means that there is more energy, in voltages, that is needed to transfer the electrons on one side to the other side. This means that silicon carbide, having a band gap 3 times bigger than that of silicon, can withstand more heat and higher voltages. It can withstand more than 10 times voltages than silicon, making breakdown of trains rare. If a current passes through silicon carbide and silicon, we can see that the current passing through silicon produces more heat. Also, even after the current is turned off, the heat retains, thus causing more cooling time. For silicon carbide, the heat dissipated is almost instantaneous as the current stops going through it. This means that when silicon inverters are produced, they have to be thicker and wider so that the heat will dissipate evenly across the surface and will not fry the device. For silicon carbide, this is not the case. Therefore, we can use smaller and more compact wafers, even reducing weight and size by about 40%. This means less bulky and lighter power equipments. In terms of saving regenerated energy from the breaks, silicon carbide saves about 35% more than silicon. The only catch is that silicon has always been used and is cheaper to produce. Presented is a patent for producing silicon carbide power inverters and the company that is developing this technology. This company is Infineon, and the inventors are Castro, Mansell, and Munzer. The picture shows the diagram of the inverter. After understanding how silicon carbide can greatly improve train systems and saving energy, perhaps you may be wondering if maybe it will improve our commuting experience in the country. Well, hopefully. Aside from trains, silicon carbide can be used for electronic devices. For now, they are looking at using silicon carbide on air conditioning units, solar panels, and electric cars. In fact, Toyota has already developed an electronic car that uses silicon carbide components. Maybe one day we will already own devices using silicon carbide. Thank you for listening.